Thank you so much for clicking the thumbnail and being interested in my work. In this video I share with you my techniques and tips on how I achieved this profile and aging skin study. Be sure to watch it right through till the end, because here and there I'll be slowing things down in real time so you can take a closer look. So let's dive in and take a look. Right, so what I'm going to do here, I'm just going to use a freehand method for the outline, put a centre mark in, and then just use very light marks to start with, using big shapes, putting big shapes in, holding the pencil quite wide as well. So I'm going to go through this quite quickly. I'm using a 708 CarbOthello pencil. Now I'm using imaginary angles from one area to another. It all starts from the centre point, and then just use the big shapes, get those in first, and then once you're happy with it, then sort of tighten that up a little bit. Part of my method is to use a Faber-Castell kneadable razor, which actually shapes the mark, so you can put a line in and then just sort of rub it out and create the right shape. If you want an in-depth look at my techniques on how I do the outline, I've got several videos in my channel, so I'll leave a couple examples on screen now for you, and I'll leave links in the description below if you want to check those out after the video. I like to add a little white around the eyes just so I can get that feel of the character. Now the connection to the energy of the person should be evident even at this stage on the outline. Now I keep working on it until I get the feeling right, so if there's a part that doesn't feel correct, I'll just keep adjusting it until it does. Before I start the underdrawing, what I tend to do is just ghost the outline with a Faber-Castell kneadable eraser, just to lift some of the pigment away from the board there, so it don't mix in with the colours. Now these are the colours I'll be using for the underdrawing. I'm starting off really by adding the white. Light pressure where it's mid-tone, more pressure where it's highlight, and using the grey of the board to sort of create a little bit of form there and just get an idea of where the shapes are. Now I like to do these stages because every stage makes the next stage easier. Now I'm not concerned about getting the colours correct or the value or the chroma at this stage. All it is just to get everything in the correct position, changing things, that what I've done with the outline, moving it around, being free with it, and it's a chance to be really free flowing and spontaneous, and I really love this stage because it really feels loose and alive. Now how I approach is I open the heart, let go of the mind, so I'm really connecting to the reference image, allowing that reference image to come into me rather than me going outside of myself and drawing the reference image. So I'm bringing it into my heart and allowing the energy to guide my hand. So not only am I looking at the shapes, but I'm sensing how it feels. Now if something's not feeling right, it needs attention, so I keep working on it until it does feel right, and that's how I change things up. Now for the underdrawings I'm using mainly brown, red and yellow ochre and white, just to keep it simple and get basic structure and colour in. But when I start putting the richer colours in, I'll be using the complementary colour, which is green, to desaturate the red. But for this, it's just getting that sort of basic foundation in there. What I've found is valuable as well as doing the underdrawing is you're actually creating a little bit of pigment and filling in that tooth of the pastel mat. So it creates a vehicle then, so when you put these richer colours on, they go on more smoothly because you've added this pigment. Just see it as fun and feel like you're free and you can just flow with it. Not being concerned about the details at this stage is quite liberating. Just going through the brands I use, these are Caran pencils, Conti Paris, these are CarbOthello pencils, and the Faber-Castell white there. When I do the rich colour stage, I tend to do the darkest areas first and the lightest, and then you've got some gaze then. So this is the background obviously here, just using the brown from the Caran and then black from the CarbOthello. This highlight on the nose seems to be the brightest area, so I'm using Faber-Castell white, then a little bit of Rembrandt white stick, and then mix it in then using the Faber-Castell. Small circles and squiggles, and then glaze over then with red and blue to create a colder red, and just laying in the colours in to start with. With the rich colour stage, it's not the detail stage still, it's just more of the same, a blocking but more richer colour, focusing on getting the values right and chroma, and then the details will be put on later on in this video. Now for the darkest areas of the skin tone, I'm using the brown and then laying in the red and green with this now. So green is complementary and to desaturate, create more of a natural shadow. Now I'm laying in the colours quite loosely. I'm trying to develop more of a looser style, more patently, rather than really minute details, so it's all suggestion, it's my interpretation at the end of the day. I tend to focus on the energy and the feeling and just let the details take care of themselves. If you're enjoying this video, why not subscribe? It's absolutely free, and then you're sure not to miss any of my future videos. How creating the wrinkles is you put in the warm red in there, then put the dark green over that, and then just blend it over very lightly with the dark flesh tint from the Caran 5%, and then the lightest areas I'm using the pink white from the Caran, and then just keep glazing over, and basically that's what I'm creating here, just building it up layer after layer after layer until you get the desired effect you want. Now you can buy these Caran pencils singles, so you don't have to buy the whole kit. You can just buy the flesh tints and that dark green I use. That way you're saving money, but they are really worth investing in because it makes all the difference with the vibrancy and the subtleties. Now using the fresh Faber-Castell white for the white of the eyes and the highlights there. Just keeping everything nice and simple with the rich colour stage, using the blue and brown now just to create a dark blue or black. Just it's a great combination, brown and blue together. Rather than using black, it's more of a natural sort of a feel to it. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank all my Patreons for their wonderful support every month. Can't thank you enough, it really means a lot to me. If you're considering joining me on Patreon and would like the benefit of longer, slower and more in-depth videos, all the videos now I put on are all in real-time audio, real-time video, so you get a real feel for what I'm doing, explain everything as I go. To find out more, please check out the link in the description below. For these dark areas, for the shadows, I'm using the dark green and dark red, cold red together, and a bit of warm red, so it's a mixture of two reds and the dark green with brown as well, just to create that depth I'm looking for. You just got to keep building it up slowly but surely, putting different sort of marks in and different squiggles, and every time you put a new layer on it creates more and more sort of texture as you go along. What's the magic about pastel mat is that it grabs the pigment, and so it stops in place. So once you put that pigment down, you can glaze over the top with other colours and it don't move. So you know, you're developing that texture as you're going along, and it don't sort of over blend itself. That's why I love this pastel mat, because you can create so many different sort of subtleties with the chroma, which create a natural glow, because all these sort of colours seem to shine through each colour, each layer as you go along. It's really fascinating to work on. I love pastel mat. Now I like to keep an awareness of the whole, so I'm working on different areas all the time and trying to create a oneness. So you've really got to be patient and build up these layers, layer after layer, and be, you know, not too concerned of getting the actual details right to start with, because it all develops eventually. So it's all about patience, perseverance, and being sort of not concerned too much about time, how long it takes, also how it looks at each stage, because there is like an ugly stage you have to go through, but then eventually with perseverance it does develop into what you're actually wanting from the drawing. If you would like to know more about how I do mix colours and I create the natural shadows using complementary colours, I have got a free class for you. You're welcome to it. The link is in the description below, so please check that out after the video if you're interested. I tend to work quite sort of spontaneous and sort of free-flowing when I'm doing the rich colour stage and the underdrawing. So when I started to put the details, I slow things down a little, but if you just try and keep that looseness and try and keep that freshness, that develops then into the details, and you create that sort of natural look and the feeling that the subject's actually there. Now, starting with the details now, just really letting go of the mind still, connecting to the energy, allow that reference image to come into your heart, open up, and just let these details take care of themselves. So I'm not really focusing like really tunnel vision out of myself, you know, and become very tense. I still keep relaxed and just let these details just sort of happen and flow from you. And I don't try and put every detail exactly the same as a reference. At the end of the day, it's my interpretation. How I see it is that when you first meet someone, you're looking at how they make you feel. You're feeling the energy. You don't look at all the details in the face. You have a look round later on, but you don't sort of study all the hair and all the details. So that's what I'm trying to put into my portrait. So when you do look at my portrait, it feels like the essence is there, but then you have a look around at the detail, but the detail's not that important. It's how it makes you feel, how the portrait makes you feel. So with the detail stage, what I tend to do is slow things down a little bit and also make smaller marks, so it's a lot more smaller squiggles and more refined marks and glazes, and it's just suggestion again. I'm keeping a connection to the whole, but I'm putting these smaller little circles, little movements, and letting them movements just happen, just sensing how the portrait reference makes me feel, and then doing those squiggles to how it feels. And what I'm doing glazing now with the lemon yellow as well, which creates chroma. So if there's anything that feels more glowy, just add a little bit of lemon yellow. It's a little trick I've learned through the years. It's a great tool to have in your kit as well. It's a colour shaper. You can just dab on it and it just blends the edges a little bit. You have to make sure that tip's quite clean though when you use it, and don't scrape it along, because if you do that it just lifts pigment. You just dab it, and just like a little dab 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 here and there. If you're enjoying this video, why not give it a like and share it with your friends? It would mean so much to me, as this would help the channel to grow. Now, the CarbOthello white is a great pencil to create these subtle sort of changes, little circles here and little squiggles, but also good for blending as well, because it's very chalky, so very light pressure is all you need really to just soften things up a little. As I mentioned earlier, just adding that lemon yellow and warm red together just creates that zinginess that you need sometimes just to get that skin to glow. Now, the base colour for the white of the eyes, I use orange and blue. They're complementary to each other, so it creates nice greys, either warm or cool grey, and it works very well together. And in the iris I'm using a lemon yellow again, just to create that sort of glowiness, and I'm just sort of really focusing really deep, still bringing that image into me, but feeling the personality and the soul of the person while you're doing the eyes. Like the saying goes, the eyes are the mirror of the soul. You see here as a close-up, there's a suggestion here and a suggestion there, but when you look from a distance at the portrait, it looks quite detailed, but the details are just not thought about, they just happen and they're just spontaneous. Now for the beard, I'm using the CarbOthello white to start with, just using the edge of the pencil tip just to create these fine lines, varying the pressure here and there. More pressure where it's lighter, less where it's a fine line. Just mapping out all the sort of structure of the design of the beard, if you like. But I'm not too fussed about making it exactly the same. It's a similar sort of look, but I'm trying to keep it sort of more spontaneous and more free-flowing. Then I'm glazing over with the yellow ochre, just varying the pressure again with these pencils. Then the blue, and then using burnt sienna over the blue to create greys then. So it creates nice subtle greys, colder and warmer. The more blue it's colder, the more burnt sienna it's warmer. So you're creating that subtlety. You can see me here mapping out again, just getting the sort of feel of it. And then once I've done that, I'm glazing over them with the burnt sienna. Then in between I'm using burnt umber to create more depth. Now on the highlights, just put a little bit of white there and then just glaze over to create chroma on the tips. Just showing you a bit of real time here, just showing you how I'm putting the details in. A little bit of pressure here and there. I'm using the pink white of the Caran dash range and just taking my time, just varying that pressure a little bit and just find that sort of flow and the feel of it. So I'm sensing the movement of these marks and then just letting my pencil move, and then just glaze over that with the red and the green, then just to desaturate it to create that shadowy look to it. And just going over generally here and there, just feeling your way, just look in the mirror a lot just to see what's needed to be done. You know, take a photograph with your phone, see what it looks like, and then just change it up accordingly. Thank you so much for watching the video right till the end. If you've enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. It would mean so much to me, as this would help the channel to grow. If there's any questions at all, please leave a message in the comment section below this video and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. If you'd like to see more of my work, please check out this video here. Take care. Bye for now.